A little say good day to you this day of your time. How are you? Thank you. All right, we shall begin this transmission. First and foremost, by once again deeply thanking each and every one of you for co-creating this interaction with all of us. Each and every time you are willing to co-create these interactions with us, you give us the great gift of experiencing creation through your eyes. And this is beautiful to us and expansive. We thank you thus then for this opportunity to expand our understanding of creation through each and every one of you, even as we share our perceptions as well. Let us begin this transmission with the understanding that, as has been named, this transmission shall be a message from Sirius, a Sirius connection. Many of you that were in attendance last night of your time recognized a great degree of acceleration in the delivery of the initial transmission. This acceleration of energy was representative to some degree of a blending at that time with Sirius energy, bringing through a much higher frequency of energy, of consciousness, so that you could, in a sense, be infused, or in your language, pumped up with that energy, so that it would begin to carry you through and across the tunnel and the bridge to 2013, giving you that extra boost, as you say, that momentum to carry you through, to span over your winter solstice date of December 21st, 2012, to simply cross through, pass through that point, and to begin to allow your energy to connect, to bridge and connect to the other side of 2013 and beyond, the years beyond, to allow that momentum to carry you through so that you can have a much more effortless crossing, joyful crossing, creative crossing. Thus today, in having given you that boost, the energy now can simply expand in a different way and may seem to be coming through more slowly, but it is more simply representative of the idea that you are now floating with that energy, that it has buoyed you up and girdled you up and allowed you to simply now rest in a peaceful state in what we call the infinite void. The idea being that as you actually accelerate, and as you experience the idea of more acceleration and approach the idea of being able to perceive the infinite acceleration that always exists, you begin to recognize, realize, and viscerally experience tangibly that infinite acceleration means that you are everywhere at once, and being everywhere at once means that you feel like you are standing perfectly still. Because when you know you are here and now and everywhere at once, then there is no need to rush about. You simply know that all places and all times and all experiences and all situations exist with you now. And that manifestation of these things is not the idea of attracting something to yourself from somewhere else. It is simply the idea of matching the frequency of what already exists within you so that it becomes perceivable and experiential to you. Thus, you do not have to strive and stretch to go anywhere. All you need to do is be perfectly more here and now to experience all the things that need to unfold in your life in the most perfectly timed, synchronous way. Do you follow this logic? Yes. Thus then understand that also what you are experiencing right now is also the blending of Sirius energy on another level. The idea being now that this Sirius energy will deliver this message in this way so that you may absorb the information on a different level, in a different way, and at a different pace now that you have been primed and prepped for the idea of tapping into your infinite acceleration. It can now be delivered in this relaxing fashion, so as to simply allow you for peaceful absorption, balanced absorption of the information that is now going to be delivered in this transmission. We shall thus then thank you for allowing us to give you this transmission, to send this transmission and receive from you also your energy of sharing. We are now coming from the idea of a high level of non-physical, serious consciousness in a more expanded way that you will become more and more familiar with through the course of your year of 2013. More and more of this energy will be being sent, or more precisely, more and more of this energy will be being perceived by you as you become more receptive antennas to the idea of the serious energy through your year of 2013 and the years beyond. So let us now talk a little bit about what is going to happen in these upcoming 2013 moments of transmission for all who wish to participate and partake in these co-creations. Some of the changes that will be being experienced in your year of 2013 with respect to these transmissions shall be as follows. Many of these transmissions, both from the blended Sirius energy and from the higher level Esasani energy as it becomes the Eshakani energy, going through its own transition, shall take different form in terms of these interactions on a number of occasions. What will now, in a sense, begin will be more than the idea of questions and answers. Though questions and answers will still exist in many of these formats, the idea shall shift a bit to allow you the opportunity to express yourselves more fully through different kinds of interactions with us. You shall become more capable of being responsible in these interactions, which is simply, again, another way of saying to increase your ability to respond and to make statements within yourself instead of always asking questions, knowing that if you have the ability to perceive a question within you, then that means the answer must lie somewhere within. And so all it will take is taking those little bent over question marks and straightening them out into exclamation points. This shall be expressed through the kind of interaction as follows in many ways, though this will not be the only way that this will be expressed. Thus then the idea is that we shall begin what can be called a metaphysical masterclass, MMC for short if you wish, in the interest of being efficient in your language. The metaphysical masterclass shall take many different forms, but among those forms shall be your opportunity to interact with us by statements and by story and by the idea that we shall borrow from your society and from the other things that the channel does with regard to the ideas you call movies. For you shall be telling your own stories as you would tell the story of a movie. And you shall, in that sense, thus then, in these interactive masterclasses, pitch your story to us. The idea thus, Ben, is that these will be 3-minute pitches. We give you this information now to give you time to prepare for the upcoming year of 2013 to get your story straight. In these 3-minute pitches, what you will be doing is taking different situations and circumstances in your life, a single situation, a single circumstance at a time in these pitches, and over the course of the 3-minute pitch that you will be delivering to us shall be the first minute for the idea of how you answered the call to adventure. When something happened, when something cropped up, when something occurred in your life in a particular situation, you shall describe in very efficient terms how it is that you arrived at the point where you allowed yourself to make the choice to answer that call and explore that circumstance and situation in a very bold way. Minute number 2 shall be a description by you of all the challenges that came up to represent the themes that you chose to explore in answering that call to adventure. So you shall describe all the different challenges that you have created for yourself, which includes all the different definitions that go hand in hand with those challenges as they may have been brought to your conscious attention. Minute number 3 shall be the description of how you transformed all these challenges into more excitement and more joy and more uplifting energy. So it shall be a 3-minute pitch divided into 3 segments of answering the call, describing the challenges, and expressing the transformation. This shall be part and parcel of the Metaphysical Masterclass format that shall be introduced in your year of 2013 in many of these interactions, giving you an opportunity to be more bold in your statements, more defined in the idea of the expression of your reality, and give you more practice in learning how to truly choose those vibrational parallel realities that are part and parcel and more representative and reflective of the realities you prefer to experience. Do you understand? Yes. Thus then, you will also find other things shall be occurring in 2013 with respect to these transmissions, with respect to these interactions. And by the introduction of the Metaphysical Masterclass, it shall also be an opportunity to increase and enhance your sensitivity to the idea of definitions and belief systems within you. And we will work very closely with you in a variety of ways to truly, as you say, zero in on those definitions and allow yourself the opportunity to truly experience that moment of pause, that moment of balance, that moment in the infinite peaceful void where you have the opportunity to truly stand still with all of the definitions you have created within your personality structure. And so to truly examine and truly explore and truly be more willing to bring to the surface all those ideas that may have been compartmentalized within you, and in bringing them forward holistically to create yourself to function in harmony and in relationship with your higher mind as a much more holistic person on your experience of the physical journey, so that you can elevate that physical journey experience to a much higher domain, a higher frequency, and truly allow yourself the visceral, tangible experience of the shift from 3rd to 4th density in a much more accelerated way. Also, you will find in the upcoming 2013 that there will be many events, global events of various natures that will give you the opportunity to decide how to define these things and what meaning you shall put into them. These will be global collective consciousness challenges that many of you will have the opportunity to face and redefine for yourselves in order to understand truly how to shift globally to different parallel Earths and get more and more of the reflection of the kind of parallel reality you prefer by giving more and more opportunity to assign positive meaning to many of the things that will occur. One of the upcoming events that shall begin to truly become predominant in your society, 1 orbit from now, at this time again in 2013, will be something that many of your astronomers and scientists have now begun to talk about, and that you have now labeled the Christmas comet. For you shall have an opportunity for 2 possible realities with regard to the idea of a comet that is now approaching your world and shall round the sun and shall have the opportunity to go in 2 different directions. Direction number 1 shall be that the comet will simply pass so close to your star that it will simply be absorbed by the star. This by itself shall have the opportunity to be given many different kinds of meanings, and we will discuss the depth of these ideas at another time as the comet approaches your world. The other option, the other parallel path available to you in the experience of the Christmas comet shall be that if it does not get absorbed by your star, it shall round your star so closely and pass by your planet closely enough that it shall be the brightest comet in your recorded history. You will be able to see and experience this with great wonder and great joy, and take it as a reflection from the cosmos in a variety of ways. Again, giving yourself an opportunity to experience this particular reflection in the heavens in a variety of ways, and an opportunity to assign a variety of meanings to it that shall be part and parcel of what you have decided for yourself in the year of 2013. So there is the Christmas comet that shall represent another splitting point. Even now, as your upcoming December 21st winter solstice date has been described by us as the idea of a splitting prism, where the tracks of the trains will leave the station and split and become divergent. The Christmas comet shall be another splitting point in one orbit that will give you the opportunity to experience parallel reality splits in a very new way, and we shall be discussing more information about this in the upcoming 2013 window. Give yourself thus then the opportunity to allow all of these changes to sink in, and there will be many more surprises upcoming, some of which will be announced in the upcoming December 21st and 22nd transmissions. Things that have not been available to us to, in a sense, transmit to you, that will be able thus then to be transmitted at that time. During that transmission, we will have 4 surprise gifts for you during that transmission of information heretofore not available to be transmitted to your society. Thus then, we offer you the opportunity to become aligned with new information and new energy that shall uplift you to a new level, so that you may experience 2013 in a holistically new way, and to generate with us and co-create with us new interactions with new formats and new flavors, and thus then allow yourself to truly begin to experience the seed of what your new era shall be, and begin to lay the foundations for new experiences that were not possible in the old paradigms. So we thank you for the opportunity to experience such exciting upliftment with you, and we now again extend our deep unconditional love and gratitude for your willingness to experience more and more of the collective energy of Earth and Ethasani and Sirius. There shall also be in the upcoming year more opportunities to experience the idea of the energy of Sirius through the flow of water in a variety of ways. Pay attention to the changing weather patterns on your planet, for they are an indication of the new world building itself. And these changes, while they can occur in a variety of ways, will always give you the opportunity to adapt to them. If you are so aligned in a positive way of assigning positive definition to everything that occurs, you will always have the opportunity to adapt to the new world as it reforms itself, so that eventually you will be able to see the new world that you will be living in alongside those who are to come. We thank you for allowing us to deliver this information in this way, and now in return for this gift you have given to us, we ask, in what way may we now be of service to you through your questions and answers?
I want to say good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? Yeah! All right. First and foremost, we would like to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you individually and all of you together collectively for the great gift you are giving to our civilization in being allowed to interact with each and every one of you. Each and every time you allow us to interact with you, we get to experience through you that many more facets of the multidimensional crystal of creation. And we thank you for allowing us to experience all the different points of view that you have created your world to be. In exchange for this gift, we are here to serve, we are here to assist, we are here to remind you of who and what you actually are, because we understand that by having chosen an Earth incarnation, that one of the things that goes along with that choice of an Earth incarnation has been, for many thousands of years, forgetting who and what you really are. But now, in this day and age you call your transformational age, You are now approaching the end of the cycle of forgetfulness and are entering the cycle of remembering. And that is why your energy has acted. In your act of remembering who and what you are, your energy has acted as an invitation to us to begin this dialogue with each and every one of you, so that we can together create a new third reality that is more representative of the realities in which we can together coexist, in which we can together play, in which we can together create the reality of your dream, of your soul, of your preference. The idea is that everything that we have to share with you is all part and parcel of assisting you to refine your frequency, to refine your vibration, to refine your energy in such a manner so as to be more fully in alignment with who you were created to be as a being, as a consciousness, as a spirit, as a soul. The idea, therefore, is that even though many of you have begun to recognize certain principles that you call metaphysical knowledge, spiritual knowledge, we are here to help assist in the practical application and the utilization and the explanation of why exactly that knowledge is of paramount importance, why exactly that knowledge is so key at this time for you to apply in your lives. For example, many of you have now for quite a few of your years been talking about the idea of following your joy, acting on your bliss. This is all well and good, and it is a lovely, lovely thought. But the idea is to not leave it as a thought. The idea is to fully understand why that is so crucial, why that is so critical. From our perspective, we explain it this way. What you call the sensation of joy, love, and excitement and happiness is actually your physical body's translation of the vibratory energy that represents your true natural self. That is who you are. That frequency is who you are by being created in the image of creation. So any time that you are willing to act on things which contain the highest degree of joy, the highest degree of excitement, the highest degree of passion, the highest degree of love, anytime you take action on any of those things that contain that energy, you are thus functioning like the compass needle that points unerringly north to your specific frequency, the frequency that was designed to allow you to create your life along the path of least resistance. That is why it is so important. When you act on the things that contain, at every given moment, without expectation and with full integrity, the highest amount of joy, you are staying most fully in alignment with your true self, and that will allow the synchronicity in your life to reflect back to you the idea of all the things that represent who you really are, and allow you to experience yourself as the true being you were created to be. And you will thus then, through that action alone, begin to remember bit by bit, day by day, piece by piece, at whatever rate you are comfortable, you will begin to remember who you are. You will no longer be fragmented, compartmentalized consciousnesses, but you are moving toward the idea of literally rejoining, remembering, recollecting yourself into who you actually are. And as you wake up into who you actually are, you will then be understanding, truly understanding how creation works, the principles upon which it is based, and you will see that even though you can make it very complex or very complicated, the fundamental mechanism of creating your reality is very, very simple. And all degrees of complication simply come from one thing and one thing only: a belief or a definition that is out of alignment with your true self. Now, the only way from our perspective you can actually hold on to a belief or a definition of life, or a belief or a definition of creation that is out of alignment with your true self, is if that definition and that belief is unconscious. But as soon as you identify, as soon as you define, as soon as you bring that belief that is out of alignment with your true self into conscious realization, you will see very quickly one thing that is very important. Any belief, all definition that is out of alignment with your true self, once brought into conscious recognition, will immediately and automatically appear nonsensical, illogical. It will not fit with who you know yourself to be. It will no longer make sense for you to hold on to it. You will see that it belongs to someone else. You will see that you have bought into it and taken it upon yourself as your own, perhaps from your parents, perhaps from your society, perhaps from your friends, perhaps from your loved ones. But nevertheless, as soon as you can actually shine the light of your true consciousness on a belief or a definition that is out of alignment with who you truly are, you will see that it makes no sense to hold on to it any longer. Now, if you do continue to hold on to it longer than that moment of recognition, then you can still approach it consciously and ask yourself the question, why? Why would I hold on to something I know is out of alignment and illogical and makes no sense for who I know I truly am? For then, when you begin asking those questions, are you truly in control of changing your reality and who you actually are? The idea being that if you do hold on to something you say you know doesn't serve you, then you must have created another belief, an unconscious reason for why it makes sense to do so. And so again, you can use the very same understandings to find out what that belief is. And keep doing that until you have rooted out all the unconscious beliefs and brought them into the light of consciousness, and allow the fundamental, foundational beliefs that are out of alignment to drift away, float away, turn into smoke, which is all they are. It's just smoke and mirrors. Your physical reality is just an illusion, but the experience of it is real. That's all that's real, is your experience of it. But physical reality, that which you have surrounding you, seemingly, is all taking place within your consciousness. It is like a mirror. You all know, that if you have a glass mirror on your planet and you see your reflection in it, and your reflection, the expression on your face in the reflection is frowning, you don't go over to the mirror and try to change the reflection into a smile. You do not manipulate the physical reality because it's only a reflection. There's nothing there. But you know that the moment you actually decide to smile, the reflection has no choice but to smile back. All of the difficulty and all of the complications and all of the pain and all of the suffering you have experienced on your planet has been from your attempt to manipulate the reflection instead of actually changing who you are. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. Now, we understand that for many people it doesn't seem that simple, but that's all right. All that means is you have a belief that it's not that simple. And it's only a belief. This is what we are here to say. Any degree of difficulty and pain and suffering you have ever experienced is not because there is actually inherent difficulty built in to creation. All that only comes from the perspective that is created by the belief systems within your unconscious mind. Difficulty is not the purview of creation. Creation is automatic. Manifestation is automatic. It's immediate. You all do it all the time. If you were not automatically and immediately manifesting something all the time, you wouldn't be having an experiential reality at all. So the point is, you don't have to learn how to manifest. You don't have to learn how to trust the idea. You don't have to learn how to do it faster. You're already doing it automatically as fast as you possibly can. The issue is, what are you manifesting based on what you believe is possible? That's the issue. Because you always believe something to be true, and that's what creates the manifestation you experience. So the question is, what are you believing is true? That's the only question that determines what you experience in your reality. Because you're all born to be automatic creators, automatic manifestors. That's what it means when you say you are made in the image of God. You are co-creators. You are expressions that are co-creating. So the idea is you don't have to learn how to do that. You don't have to learn how to trust, because you always trust that something is true. So again, it's not about learning how to trust, learning how to manifest, learning how to do it faster. All those things are automatic. It always comes down to simply, what do I believe is true? So the idea is that when you have difficulty, when you have struggle, making a change, it's because your motivational mechanism is simply having upon it attached a belief that is not aligned with your true self. For example, you all have the same motivational mechanism. You all have the same motivational mechanism. There's only one. There is only one. There are no exceptions. No, not even you. No, not even you. The idea is this. Here is what motivates everyone. You will always, unerringly, without fail, and I mean without fail, you will always move in the direction, change in the direction of what you believe to be most beneficial. You will always, without fail, move away from what you believe to be more painful. That should tell you a lot, because if you find yourselves constantly choosing the thing you know empirically, intellectually, is more painful than what you say you would rather choose, then the question is, why do I keep choosing something I know is more painful than I'm saying I recognize is more painful than what I really prefer? That's a really good question. Here's the answer. The only reason you would do that is that there must be an unconscious belief attached to that thing that you say should be what excites you, that for some reason is making that thing actually appear to be more painful than staying where you are. You've got to find out what belief you would have to buy into to make your joy seem more painful than simply staying where you are, no matter how painful it is. This is the mechanism. It works the same for everyone. Again, for example, many people talk about the idea of wishing to attract wealth into their life physically. Yet at the same time, they may have an unconscious belief that if they do attract a certain amount of wealth, that they will somehow stand out in their society in a negative way. And they don't want to stand out in a negative way. And it's more important to them not to stand out in a negative way than it is to attract abundance. So as long as they have an unconscious belief that to be abundant will be to stand out in a negative way, and it's more important to them not to, they will always make sure they do everything in their power to never attract abundance. Until such time as they get a handle, a conscious recognition of the idea that they have that belief attached to their mechanism of motivation. But once they do, they will see it makes no sense. They will see, I don't have to believe that. That doesn't belong to me. Maybe that came from my mother. Maybe that came from my father. Maybe that was the belief that they were brought up with and they imparted to me telepathically while raising me. But now I see that it makes no sense. Of course I can be abundant. Of course I can be a nice person at the same time. Of course those things can go together. So it doesn't make sense any longer to assume that I cannot be abundant or somehow I will be rendered into a negative personality. That is what we are talking about. Identifying the belief will show you that it is illogical and nonsensical. And once you identify it, the very act of identifying it releases you from it. Because you have to redefine things in a manner that works for you. For example, many of you define the idea of a habit or a pattern as something that's difficult to change. That's just a definition. From our perspective, here's a new definition. A habit is something you do that you don't know you're doing. Once you know you're doing it, if you do it again, it's not a habit, it's a choice. So, once you understand it's not a habit anymore and it's a choice, you are now empowered to do something about changing it. Whereas if you just assign it to the idea that it's still habitual, you have no power over it because it's still unconscious. But once you know it's a choice, then you can ask yourself the fundamental question, what would I have to believe is true about my relationship to this thing in order to believe that way, to feel this way? Once you start exploring that, once you start examining that, you will find great clarity coming to you through the synchronicity in your life. So allow yourself the opportunity to recognize that you can change the definition of things in a manner that works for you, because all things have the ability to perform double duty. No thing in life has built-in meaning. I know this will sound a little funny in your language, but the truth of it is that life is meaningless. What I mean by that is there is no automatic built-in meaning to anything. If you want to put it another way, you could say the meaning of life is for you to give it meaning. But the meaning you give it ultimately determines what effect you get out of it. The effect you get out of it is totally based on how you define your reality. This is simply what you have already recognized as the law of attraction. What you put out is what you get back. It's as simple as that. It's all about how you define your world, your reality, and your relationship to it. That's all it's based on. It's that simple. Yes, it is that simple. You don't have to believe it's that simple. That's up to you. That's your choice. If you want to make it very complicated, we would never take that away from you, because that's your choice. That's your path. And if you want to do that, our blessings to you. However, we are here to simply let you know that it doesn't have to be that way. And it is completely within your power to determine what it is you will experience in every facet and every aspect of your life. So, with all of that in mind, allow us now then to explore with you in more detail some of the specific ways in which you can apply these concepts into your own personal lives by opening this interaction up to questions or discussions you may wish to create.